We're less than 2 weeks out from the premiere of Agatha All Along, and while we know that Joe Locke will be serving as a sort of sidekick to Agatha and probable deuteragonist for the series, we still don't know who he's playing, although that hasn't stopped the internet from trying to figure it out. And the most, I guess you could say popular, most speculated? Either way, the big guess is that he's Billy Kaplan, which... Okay, as I briefly touched on last week, once upon a time the Scarlet Witch and Vision had kids, only for it to turn out that their kids were never real people and were in fact pieces of Mephisto's soul. Only then it turned out they may have just been souls that Mephisto owned instead, but apparently Wanda's magic transformed those souls so deeply that they couldn't go back to Mephisto, and they reincarnated elsewhere instead. And since this is magic, they actually reincarnated in a time before Wanda and Vision had ever gotten married, with one of them becoming known as Billy Kaplan. He's got potentially limitless reality warping abilities and is destined to become something known as the Demiurge. Marvel cosmology is vast and contradictory and beyond very powerful godlike being. I don't know if they've ever really gotten into what that entails, but in Gnosticism, the Demiurge is responsible for creating and maintaining the physical universe, so that should give you an idea. Billy's primary affiliation is with the Young Avengers, which were initially formed by Iron Lad using a recruitment protocol Vision had designed in the event anything ever happened to the main team. Having no idea initially that his powers were anything other than magic, Billy originally went by the name Asgardian, before settling on Wiccan after it was pointed out that his first codename was functionally doing a cultural appropriation. Although as far as I know, he doesn't actually follow Wicca, so I'm not sure his new codename is much better? He's also married to Hulkling, a Kree-Skrull hybrid who's the Emperor of Space, so that's pretty neat. Anyways, if comic nerds should have learned anything from the MCU so far, and especially, relevant to Agatha All Along, WandaVision, it's that we should really temper our expectations with regards to deep lore pulls and obscure character reveals as major plot twists. After all, we spent 9 episodes of WandaVision thinking that Mephisto had to be the bad guy, because there was no way they were going to do something as obvious as have Wanda be brainwashing the entire town out of grief and depression, right? So that being said, odds are Joe Locke is probably Billy, even if we have no idea how. Maybe he's from another universe as a result of oncoming incursions. Maybe the red burst of energy at the end of Multiverse of Madness was Wanda reincarnating her own soul into a new form and that was Billy? Sorry, Tommy. Maybe it's just magic and nobody needs to explain anything. But I wouldn't be much of a comic-savvy YouTuber if I didn't take a wild swing at the fences, so, well, I wouldn't bet on it. I think he could also be Nicholas Scratch. He's an evil sorcerer who's gone up against Agatha and the Fantastic Four before, as well as the likes of Diablo and Doctor Strange. But most notably, he's also Agatha's son. Granted, I don't know how Agatha would have a teenage son and not immediately know or at least be suspicious of that idea, but maybe the spell Wanda put her under to keep her in her Agnes persona hasn't been fully broken, or maybe it has some residual effects. Also, adding Nicholas to the MCU would open up the opportunity for another secret society of magic users, as he was previously a member and leader of the community of New Salem, Colorado. But whoever Locke's playing, I'm sure we'll find out soon. I hope. Can you imagine if we go through the whole series and he's still just being called Teen? Next week, we actually know who some of the members of Agatha's Coven are now, so may as well cover them.